Hi, I'm Seán Finnan from the Limerick Post. Here are the top stories from the week. Limerick Fianna Fáil TD Willie O'Dea has spoken on the potential for an attack on an Irish politician following up from the death of David Ames in the UK last Friday. The Limerick TD has spoken of a number of incidents he has occurred personally of verbal attacks while working in Limerick City. The Limerick TD spoke of the erosion of boundaries that has occurred between the public and politicians, how the influx of social media has seen people more aggressive in the TD's eyes, and how the incidents that he has faced as being the long-standing TD that Willie O'Dea has been for Limerick City has seen the resort of violence become more of a possibility in recent incidents because of these erosion of boundaries, into what he calls an occupational hazard, something the 68-year-old TD has said has grown in the past 40 years in office and has grown more exponentially in the past decade. And yet he worries about the potential of copycat killers and for violence may starting to become the norm in Irish politics, just as it has been in the UK. And if levels rose to that of the UK, the potential for Irish politicians to be guarded by security at all times, something that he doesn't see happening now, but if matters rose to what we're seeing in the UK in the past few years, that he wouldn't be surprised in seeing it. In other news, 349, 19 of which Irish pubs that have closed since the start of the pandemic, and various fitness associations saying that these new figures released by the Revenue Commission show the extent their sector has been distressed since the start of the COVID pandemic. The figures released by the Revenue Commission show that 5% of all pubs in Ireland have closed since the start of March 2020, with Cork bearing the brunt with 37 pubs closed, Donegal and Dublin tied with 33 pubs closed, and with Kerry taking the bronze with 27 pubs. The various fitness associations said that with current vaccination levels, with over 18s being vaccinated by over 90% throughout the country, that all restrictions should be started to be lifted from the sector. But with the updates of the COVID vaccinations and with the updates of the restrictions coming Tuesday, it seemed that the only restrictions that were lifted were increasing the table limit from 6 to 10 and increasing the opening hours for pubs, something that the fitness associations saying is damning and devastating for the sector, and how they will have to strain for more months until the review of those restrictions in February. Limerick Hospital consultant and former president of the Intensive Care Society for Ireland, Dr. Catherine Motherway, said in an interview with the Sunday Independent that while the wider public has the right to refuse a vaccine, whether or not to get one, such right should not be offered to frontline staff. The doctor stated that this was of course in her own personal view, and spoke of the topic of mandatory vaccinations not just for frontline staff but for the wider public has raged on in various countries on an ethical and legal basis since the breakthrough of the BioNTech vaccine last year. The doctor continued to speak on a topic that she said was on an ethical and legal basis, but prevention vaccinations for frontline staff was not a new idea for frontline staff, and how the HSE have currently said that the current way forward is to just move people from the frontline staff on a risk basis if they do not get the vaccine. I've been Seán Finnan from the Limerick Post. Those have been the top stories in the week. In a bit dim room, have a good afternoon, evening or night.